and we're good. Um, so how important is networking, man? And
Networking is very important, man. It's one of the most important parts of being a comedian because through networking creates opportunities for you to get other bookings and just, opportunities that can take you somewhere you might not even, thinking you could go, or that you might not even have on your radar.
mhm. So, man, so with that producing shows, man, have you had any bad experiences producing your own shows? Just with this communication and things didn't go out well. Have you had that with?
Well, I mean, with any show, there's always going to be your behind the scenes stuff. You know what I'm saying? Um, so yeah, absolutely. I think for the fans, the people that are there, um, they don't usually know what's happening behind the scenes. I've had
Mhm.
shows where comedians might have had car trouble. They can't make the show. You see what I'm saying? Um, we had a situation with a show we just did where a comedian comedian got booked for this show back in July. We've been promoting it, we've been tagging him in it, and a couple of days before the show, we don't, he's posting stuff, but he's not posting anything about the show. So we get to the day of the show, and it's like, yo, dude, was good? Like, you still on for the night? Like, we ain't heard nothing. Oh man, I totally forgot I was booked for this, and I'm out of town for work, and blah blah blah. All right, don't even worry about it. Like, he was, somebody who was given a few minutes. You know what I'm saying? He was on the flyer, but at the end of the day, it's like, all right, I'm glad you let me know, but I don't know if I'm gonna book you again. You see what I'm saying? Because you've known about this for some time. It's not like you asked for a guest spot and then, I told you months ago, yeah, you got a guest spot, and then we get to the show and you like, yo, I forgot I even asked about that guest spot. Like, dude, you were on the flyer. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like, that's a little that's a little different. So yeah, you go through your behind the scenes things, but that's not for the general public to know. The people don't know what's going on behind the scenes. And I'm gonna be honest with you, a lot of them don't really care. You know what I'm saying? As long as your headliner is there, um, that's really I ain't gonna say that's really all that matters, but that's a big part of it. Now, if you got a situation where your headliner not showing up, you gotta have a strong enough show and strong enough comedians to kind of balance that out. You know what I'm saying? So you definitely have your behind the scenes things that go on, and you have your headaches and your frustrations, anything, and then you have your nights where things are gonna they seem one way, but then they go another way. I think at the end of the day, when you're throwing events, the whole point is for people to come to your events, support your events, have a good time, enjoy themselves, and want to come back and support another event.
So, man, so you said in the beginning, man, you did a lot of hosting. Um,
Mm.
Tell the people what makes a good host at a comedy show. What's your
Uh,
what's your attributes to make somebody a good host or make you a good host? What attributes
good
you thought
host,
you brought to
you,
the
you
hosting
you
game?
definitely need to you definitely need to interact with the people.
Hmm.
You definitely need to interact with the people. Um, I would say don't overdo it. You got to have good energy.
Hmm.
You got to have good energy. You got to have a good vibe. Um, you got to make sure the people are enjoying themselves. So you keep asking the people, y'all having a good time? Y'all still with me? Um, you can do your jokes in between sets, but don't overdo it. Don't try to do 5, 10, 15 minute sets in between each comedian. You know what I'm saying? A host should do maybe 7 minutes, no more than 10, to warm the crowd up and get the show
Hmm.
flowing. Bring your first comedian up, comedian do their thing, host come back up. Um, might be able to say one line, but depending on how many comedians you got, you want to keep the show rolling. You want to keep the show rolling, man. You want a nice flow, of funny when it comes down to your host. You don't want your host trying to do a Netflix special and a hosting gig. You know what I'm saying?
You
Because you
said
get no
Netflix special here.
because you get hosts that are long-winded. So you get hosts that will try to do 15, 20 minutes in between each comedian. And now your
Mhm.
show is being like super long. Like me personally, I feel like A comedy show at the max, at the max, shouldn't have any more than 6 comedians, and that is including your host. So that's really
Mm,
5 comedians plus your host. You see what I'm
mm,
saying? You can have 10 comedians on a show.
mm-hmm,
It doesn't make the show any better whether you got 10 comedians, 6 comedians, 4 comedians, 5 comedians, damn it, 3 comedians. As long as everybody is bringing it and as long as everybody respects the time, then you should be fine. Like I said, stand up comedy is math. So if I say, hey, you got 5 to 7 minutes, or you got 5 minutes, I'm gonna hit you with the light at 3. You got 7 minutes, I'm gonna hit you with the light at 5. Or you got 10 minutes, I'm gonna hit you with the light at 8. Get ready to wrap that shit up. You know what I'm saying? Because we still are running a production. We still running a show. We still got other people that got to get on this stage. And then,
mm-hmm.
depending on your venue, you might only have your venue for a certain amount of time. You see what I'm saying? So if you got your venue, let's say 4 hours, your comedy show is going to be an hour and a half. You might need an hour to set up. You might need an hour to clean up, which leaves you a 2 hour gap.
Mm-hmm.
Within that 2 hour gap, your comedy show should be an hour and a half. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
So if you got not only people going over time, but you don't like comedians aren't there on time, because that ends up being a problem too. Your show starts at 8 o'clock. You need your headliner to go on around 9, but you got one of your opening acts or one of your features saying they're not gonna get there till 8:50 or 8:55. You see what I'm saying? Like
mm-hmm.
it's a science to it. It's a science to the booking. It's a science to the flow of the show. Anybody can book talent. Anybody can book a bunch of comedians. But you've got to know the right placement in order to put these comedians in, because as for a comedy show, as the show goes on, the comedians need to get better and they need to get stronger. You see what I'm saying? You don't want to come to a comedy show, boom, host come out, he's doing his thing. Next thing you know, you got to open the act. He come out, he do his thing. Then the next act after that is poop-tastic. Then the
Have you ever
next one
been?
after that, huh?
Have you ever been in a situation where a nigga try to guilt you? Like, yo, remember I was sending niggas to get the haircut to you, and you know what I mean. I came to a couple shows, man. Let me get a couple minutes. Have you ever got somebody to try to guilt you to get put them on?
um, I've had people who've asked for guest spots, and I was in a position of not being able to give them to them. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? Because it's like I said, it's a certain number of comedians. You know what I'm saying that you want to have on your show. So
Mm-hmm.
like if you have 4 comedians and 2 people ask you for guest spots, now you got 6 comedians. So if I
Mm-hmm.
give the 2 guest spots away and you a third person trying to get that guest spot, it's like nah, I can't get you in. You see what I'm saying? Um, but yeah, I guess to answer your question, yeah, I've had people try to guilt trip me with giving them time, and it's kind of like that's not a that's not a given. You see what I'm saying? And then
Mm-hmm.
it's people I've given time to, and it's like, all right, it worked out for both of us. But then there's people I've given time to, and it was like, nah, I shouldn't have gave him no time. Like he dropped the ball. I won't even book him. You know what I'm saying? Like it,
So
it, it
have you ever had a real conversation like, man, I don't like this is not what you like you I've seen you done it, but this is not what I expected. You like, or have you ever had a real enough conversation say that stuff was not funny or it wasn't good enough in a
all right.
situation
So
like
check
for you
this
to be
out.
on my show?
Check this out. I've never for my shows, for my
Mm-hmm.
shows. I only feel like one comedian ever bombed
Okay.
at one of my shows. And it was actually like an open mic that like my open mic where I have a feature comedian and I have a feature poet.
Mm-hmm.
So this particular night, I think I think that particular night, I think I was the feature poet. Yeah, I was the
Mm-hmm.
feature poet. I didn't even plan on doing comedy that night. So me and my partner OC, like when we do our poetic laughter open mic, I'll host the poetry portion. He'll host the comedy portion. So that particular, we had some poets, and then I was the feature poet. We booked this. We booked this comedian. We booked this comedian. I'm not gonna say his name,
Mm-hmm.
but we booked this comedian who has a pretty decent online presence. I've never seen this guy do stand up before, but I see him on flyers. He got a podcast. He, be doing comedy clubs, all this other stuff. So, his management reaches out and they, see what we got going on. They like, yo, we manage so and so. We trying to get him booked on your platform, blah 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 blah. So this is like the first time somebody's management ever reached out. Usually we handpick the people that we want to book based off of what we seen at open mics or seen at other shows or referrals or somebody done sent some footage and something like that. So it's like, all right, now mind you, I never seen this dude before, but I see him working. I see him working. So I'm like, well, let's talk numbers. So we talk numbers, and the numbers was too high. So I said, listen, it's a Wednesday night show. Um, this is what the budget is. If he can do it within this budget, if he can do it for this budget, then we can make it happen. If not, then ain't no hard feelings. We keep it moving, and we'll just get somebody else. So they was
Mm-hmm.
like, no, no, no. He'll be happy to to take that amount, and it was still a fair amount or whatever. So we booked this guy. We get the flyer made. Dude does not share the flyer. He doesn't share the flyer. He doesn't post the flyer. He doesn't tag us in it. He waits till about 3 hours before the event to finally post the flyer. And this is a guy who you see him on flyers. He got suits on, he dressed up and everything, right? He shows up to the show, dingy polo shirt, high water jeans, mismatched socks, and slides. So from the rip, it's like dude coming to the show looking unprepared. But then he got a bag. So I'm like, oh, maybe he gonna change his clothes, whatever. So he sits in the audience, he watches the whole show. He watches all the poetry, he watches all the open mic comedians, all this stuff. The comedian that went before him was just somebody who signed up for the open mic, some dude from North Jersey. He killed it. And I ain't gonna front. I think Bull might have intimidated this comedian that we hired to
Come
basically
on,
perform.
man.
So now what happens is the headliner's about to go on stage. He goes on stage with the dingy shirt, the high waters, the mismatched socks, and the slides. So I'm looking
Slides.
like, yo, this is not the representation that we got on the flyer or that I see on any of the, what I'm saying? So it's like, all right, well, whatever. Like maybe, he about to go up here and kill this. It was set up. Everybody that went up there did their thing. He gets on stage and he might have said a joke, got a little couple laughs, but then it was like he's a black guy who's used to performing in front of white people. This particular night, you have an all black audience in this room, and he doesn't know what to do. He's like, damn, I thought it was gonna be more white people here. And it got to the point where he just kept saying that and kept talking about it. And it got to the point where it was cringeworthy. Like it
So
was cringeworthy.
how important it is of to do your homework and have, not to say put jokes in the black bag, the white bag, but how important it is to have shit prepared of, if I got black crowd, I got these. I used to eat syrup sandwiches. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How important is that to be prepared and do your homework to have shit like that in the mental bank just in case?
Well, it's very important because you have to know who you performing in front of. You see what I'm saying? So, for example, I had a lady inquire with me about booking me for a show late November. And my question was, well, where's the show?
Mm.
What kind of show is it? How much time do you need? What's the age demographic of the people that are going to be there? Is this clean comedy? So she's like, oh well, it's going to be at a store that I have. I have a Christian store, so I'm looking for clean comedy. Da da da. Okay, first of all, I'm not even a Christian, but I can make them laugh. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
I can make them laugh. And at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? Like we talking business here. So my whole thing is like, all right, so you want clean comedy, you got a Christian store, so now I have to expect church people to be there. You see what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So it's letting me know the type of audience that's going to be there. So now it making me go through my Rolodex mentally of material and know, okay, I can say this, I can't say this, I can say this, I can't say this, I could do this, I can't do that. So now I have to put together, the clean material that I have. And this is another thing I think would be good for comedians. I'm not trying to tell anybody what to do. First of all, you got to figure out what kind of comedian you are.
Mm.
Because when I first started, somebody was like, "What kind of comedian are you?" And I said, "What do you mean?" And it was like, are you like Eddie Murphy? Are you like a Bill Cosby? Are you like a Kevin Hart? Are you like a Richard Pryor? Are you like a Dave Chappelle? Like, are you like a Cat Williams? Like, are you are you storytelling? Are you shock value? Are you a bunch of one-liners? Like, are you over animated? Like, what, I'm saying? So I didn't have the answer for that when I first started. So I had to figure it out. Who am I? I'm Elijah the Barber. That's who I am. And then what type of comedian am I? I'm a storyteller. I bring barbershop talk to the stage. You see what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
now it's kind of like you have to look at the different arsenals that you can have. The more versatility you have as a comedian, the more jobs you can get. When I first started, it was a comedian, Philly, Derek Lee. Shout out to Derek Lee. He told me, he says, "Yo, don't just chase these black rooms. Go after some of the white rooms too, because white people spend money for comedy as well." What I'm noticing is there's a difference between comedy club comedians and comedy show comedians. There's a difference between open mic comedians and comedy show comedians or comedy club comedians. Like it's differences, it's different levels to it. It's some that can rock a stage no matter where they go. Some can just be who they are everywhere, but some they have to make adjustments depending on who they around. I feel like I got a lot of universal stuff that works no matter where I go, but I do got material that okay, as a white crowd, I'm gonna use this for them. It's our people, they definitely getting this. Then it's a church crowd, they getting this. You know what I'm saying? It's a straight clean show. Okay, I'm gonna do all of these. So that was something that I did for myself, challenging myself. Like I want to be able to put myself in any space. And somebody says, "Hey, we got a church function. It's gonna be 200 people there. It pays so and so, and they need you to do 10 minutes clean, 15 minutes clean." Okay, cool. You know, I can do a half an hour clean. So I'm not worried about clean comedy. If somebody wanted to book me for a clean comedy show, that's not a problem. If somebody want to book me for, a black comedy show that they will say, hey, this is a ghetto crowd, fine. If somebody wants to book me for a white audience, that's fine. Dog, I performed at a psychiatric hospital this year. I had the
God damn.
crazy people laughing. So I'm not like my confidence is that I can make any type of room people laugh. I'm not really worried about that. When I go to comedy open mics, I go to comedy open mics to work on new material, but I also go to comedy open mics like the Cool J's and stuff and bar 13s and all of that to get reps in when I'm getting ready to do a bigger show or when I'm getting ready to go out of town and do a show. I hit those places just to, you know what I'm saying, keep everything kind of fresh, whatever, just to get the reps in because it's like working out. It's like going to the gym. You know what I'm saying? You got to constantly get, the reps in and then work on your new stuff as well. But as a comedian, you have to do your homework on where you're going to be performing at. As a promoter, you have to do your homework on who it is that you booking. So just to go back to that story I was telling, like I did something that I never thought I was going to have to do, but I was prepared to do. I told myself 3 minutes into this guy's set that I got to go on stage after him. And I have to save this show because I don't want anybody leaving feeling like they didn't get their money's worth.
Mm.
At the end of the day, I got a reputation to maintain. So he stunk it up. He stunk it up. and got off stage, and I went up there and I bought the crowd back. I sent them home right. This is where I lost respect for this comedian, and I'll never book him again. Um, he knew he messed up. So what he did was, rather than wait till I was done and shake my hand and look me in the face like a man and say, "Look, my bad, dog. Tonight wasn't my best night. Give me another opportunity. I'll come back and I'll make it right." I would have respected that. Instead, what happened was, when he first got there, he got handed his money. He got his check. You know what I'm saying? So the business was good. He got on stage. The product was terrible. He knew the product was terrible. I went up on stage, did my thing. He left out the back door. He left out the back door. So he didn't even like. I felt like he didn't respect me enough to at least wait. And then, like I said, shake my hand, look me in the face, and admit that he messed up. He went out the back door, and by the time I got off stage, I had a message from him on Instagram saying, "Thank you for the opportunity. You have an amazing room," and that was it. You know what I'm saying? Like, he didn't take accountability for the fact that he went on this stage and was poop-tastic. So it just had me like, all right, never again. You know what I'm saying? Like never again. Like, and entertainment and business and stuff like that, you only got one time to sit up there and do me wrong, or do wrong by me, and I'm just on to the next. Like, I just won't deal with you no more. That's just how I look at it.
And you know what I mean. I want to get to you know what I mean. So you know what I mean. When we finish this interview, I want to pick your brain. You know what I mean. Whenever, because I want to create my own opportunity, right? Because I feel
Yeah.
like my jokes are not black enough. You know what I mean? They're not black enough. I'm more like alternative black. You know what I mean? I'm in
Okay.
between Cavassier and Arbor Miss. So I'm trying to create my own
Okay.
opportunity. So
Hmm.
I want to pick your brain about that, man. But I want to talk about this special you had, man.
Okay.
For you to produce your own shit, man, and to see, damn, I produced my own special. I got it out the mud. I put my own
Mm.
bread in. I invested. How did
Yeah.
that make you feel to say, damn, this is I invested my money into this and I did this my own, and I had to wait for nobody. How did that make you feel?
Man, let me tell you something. Um, it's an amazing feeling, bro. Like, that night was one of the greatest nights of my life for a lot of
Mm-hmm.
different reasons. Um, One, I did something that you just don't see newer comedians doing. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I did something that comedians that been doing this 15, 20 plus years haven't done. See, the thing with the older comedians, a lot of them are still stuck in the old ways. So they believe that their talent is their talent, and that somebody's supposed to invest in them and scoop them up and take them under their wing and push them out there. And fortunately for certain OGs, they have uh people that came after them, that respected them, that went way higher than they ever could have gone. And then they remembered those guys and they came back for those guys, and invested in those guys to let those guys get some shine. And that's why you
Mm-hmm.
have like Dave Chappelle helping, the Lunels, and
Earthquake,
helping
yeah.
the Earthquakes and stuff like that get their specials. You had Kevin Hart helping people like David A. Arnold, rest in peace, before he passed away, with his specials and stuff. So, I get it. I get it when it comes down to that. But with this new generation, there's newer comedians, or like, when I say newer, I don't mean like newer as far as like they, just came out. I would say like Kevin Hart, Cat Williams, um, Little Rel are still considered newer comedians to me, because everybody, when they talk about comedians, they always talk about Eddie, Richard, Bill. You know what I'm saying? Like, they always talk about those guys. You know what I'm saying? Like they're held in a high standard. Martin. You know what I'm saying? They always talk about those guys. But I watch Kev. I watch Little Rel. I watch these guys invest in themselves. I watch these guys do their own specials. You know what I'm saying? On their own. I got Little Rel first comedy special on DVD. You know what I'm saying?
Damn.
Um, so those guys are the guys that inspired me when they asked me like, yo, newer comedians, or what are comedians that or more today type comedians that inspired you. Those are the guys, because I watched them invest in themselves. They didn't wait for nobody to make nothing happen. Kevin Hart took like $5,000, invested it into his first comedy special, then took like 50,000 and invested to his second, then took like 500,000 and put it into his next one. Like that was Kevin Hart's formula. So I said, well, shit, when I do my first special, I'm gonna take $5,000 and I'm investing it, and that's what I did. You know what I'm saying? Because I was already doing. It's like I'm doing battle rap events, and I got one event could cost me $3,000. So if I'm
And I
gonna
see
spend
you
3,000, huh?
and I see you put sketches in there. I was like, damn, this shit.
Yeah.
I never see somebody through a sketch.
Exactly. It was different. Like it was different. Like I wanted to do something in my stand up special that I never seen nobody do before. Like it's like, all right, get up there and talk your shit for 40 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, like cool, but like what else makes this entertaining? Now is this formula everybody has with their comedy specials where they make it documentary style. You see what I'm saying? They make it documentary style. You see a little bit before the special, then you see the special, then after the special is like a 10, 15-minute documentary of them going around the different cities and behind the scene. Like that's the new formula. So it's kind of like I'm feeling like, yo, I'm seeing the same shit over and over again. And it's not that these people's specials aren't dope. It's not that these things aren't inspirational or motivating, but for me to do my first one has to stand out. I gotta have some shit in mind that's just a little different. And that's what I had worked towards. I'm gonna throw a little skit kind of in there in the middle, and that was live. That wasn't practice. That wasn't pre-rehearsed. It was just the conversation of this is my vision. This is what I need to make it, come to life. And we made it happen. You know what I'm saying? And for the people that came to the show, they were highly entertained. They loved it. And when I do that, it's like if people love that first one, the stuff that I got for the next one, it's going to be different. It's going to be comedy, it's going to be poetry, it's going to be theater. Like it's going to be different. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to be your typical somebody just standing, behind the microphone for an hour just telling stories and telling jokes. It's going to be so much more than that. Like I'm making art. You know what I'm saying? And comedy is art. And that's no disrespect to none of the other stand-up comics that are coming up or that were, before me. Is just I only know how to be me. I don't know how to be anybody else. I'm not trying to be Kev. I'm not trying to be Rel. I'm not trying to be none of these other dudes that's out here that's doing their thing. Salute to all of them. But Elijah the Barber is trying to make his own mark his own way.
So who, like, how long did it take you to develop that hour?
Um so I'm gonna give you the formula of what a lot of these comedians are doing, and I'm gonna tell you like basically what I did. So a lot of comedians, what they do when they do a special, they do a tour, and when
Mm-hmm.
they do the tour, they usually do like 20 to 25 cities minimum.
Mm-hmm.
Some might do 50 cities,
Mm-hmm.
and they might do 5 shows every city,
Mm-hmm.
and they're doing the same hour and a half, or 45 minutes worth of material every city. So what they used to do is do it for the whole year and then get to the end of the year and then film the special. With
Oh,
and
okay,
that
okay.
special is the best performance. But Chris Rock and Kev just changed that formula. So now what they're doing is they'll do a year, but they'll do 6 months and then film it in the middle of the tour. Then
Mm.
continue to go on tour afterwards, still doing it. And that's where that documentary style comes. And then by the time it comes out, it's like, yo, it was already filmed. You know what I'm saying? It was already done. With me, the first special, um, I basically had 3 years to make it because I was doing comedy for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
So It was 3 years worth of material, 3 years of hitting up open mics, going to open mics, filming the sets, seeing, okay, that's 3 minutes, okay, that's 4 minutes, okay, that's 5 minutes, working on the time and working on the placement and stuff like that. It took me another 3 months, another 4 months before the special to actually tie certain material into each other. Like, I have to make this connect with this. I have to make this connect to this. I have to mention this at the beginning. I have to have a mention in the middle, and then I have to have a mention again towards that. Like all of that stuff took some months of doing. You know what I'm saying? And figuring out. But some things you couldn't do until um the night of. Some stuff was exclusive. This is the first time I'm ever doing this. So even with performing certain jokes, like you saying jokes that people may have heard before, but I had to purposely say certain jokes at open mics or at certain shows in a lazy type way, because I knew when I did the special, I was going to say it different. I knew I was going to act it out. I knew I was going to use props. I knew I was going to be more animated. So it was kind of like, even if people heard the joke before, I performed it and did it in a way as if they never heard it before.
Mm. So how many
So,
times?
so
How many? Oh, it's my fault. Go ahead.
no, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
How many times? You know what I mean? Because I am my fault. How many times do you know what I mean? When you're on the stage, you autocorrect your jokes.
Um, I don't know. I don't necessarily know. I have an answer for that. I think what ends up happening is you have jokes that you constantly build on and you constantly learn from. For
Mm.
me, um, after I did that special, I had jokes that I tweaked, and I say
Mm.
them different now. I still say them, but I say them different. You know what I'm saying? Um, because after watching the special, I learned so much. Like, damn, I could have did this. I could have said this like this. I could have added this. So, we're always our toughest critics. So now it's like some of the material that I got from the special that I still may perform, I might add a line. You know what I'm saying? I might add two lines to it, or I might, say something different, in the beginning. So putting the special together, it was tough because some jokes, it was like, damn, I'm saying this joke, but this part I say first and this part I say last, and it's not hitting the way I want. So now
Mm.
I got like, let me reverse it. Like the love test joke, that joke, the first time I did it in AC, and I did the woman's part first
Mm-hmm.
and I did the man's part second,
Mm-hmm.
and I got a crazy reaction, but most of the audience was men. So
Mm.
for like the next 4 or 5 months, I'm doing that joke the same exact way. I'm not getting the reaction that I got the first time I did it.
Mm.
It's like the first part hits, the second part falls flat. So maybe like 2 months before the show, I said, you know what? I'm gonna reverse this. I'm gonna say the man part first, and I'm gonna say the woman part second. And it was different. It hit. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, all right, boom. And when I did it, the special, it got the type of reaction that I wanted to get. So sometimes it's just things like that, like tweaking certain jokes. You know what I'm saying? If it's two parts to it, sometimes you might have to say the part that you thought would have been the bigger punch. Sometimes you got to say that first and then say the other part second, and now it gives you the reaction that you want. But a lot of that comes from just studying the game tapes, man, filming yourself, listening to the laughs. Like I would film my sets, even coming to Cool J's, throw some headphones on and listen to what they laugh at, listen to what people are saying. You know what I'm saying? Listen to my timing. Okay, I did the same set, 5 times that month, but out of the 5 times, I like when I did it in Philly the best. You know what I'm saying? Or I like when I did it in Williamstown or whatever, wherever I was at. If I was in Delaware, I like that one the best. And then you start taking different shit. Like, okay, this joke that I said, I like the way I said this joke at Cool J's, but I like the way I said this other joke at this place, and I like the way I said this joke at that place, and then you find a way to work on that, to capitalize off of that.
Again, man, I appreciate you coming on, man. Before we get out of here, man, for somebody who is younger in the crowd, you know what I mean, younger in his career of comedy, and people that are watching it, that want to pursue comedy, what advice do you have for them?
Man, do it, man. I'm never gonna tell nobody not to sit up there and try to do it. Hit up open mics, man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they got comedy colleges and comedy schools and all of that. I'm not really a fan of those, and that's no knock the people who do that. Um, but put your man, throw yourself out there in the fire, man. Where you know it's gonna be real, it's gonna be genuine. It ain't gonna be no people just hyping you up because you putting money in their pocket. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Go out there and really learn, network, um, find a mentor. You know what I'm saying? I had to do that. Find a mentor that you can pretty much be like an understudy and you know figure out once you decide that it's something you want to pursue, figure out what kind of comedian you want to be. Figure out what kind of style you want to have or you want to be known for. And from there create goals, man. Every year I create a goal.
Mm.
When I did my last year my goal was to do a special.
Mm-hmm.
Then I said, yo, you know what? I'm gonna do a special in 2023, which I did. I'm gonna do a special in 2025, which I got one coming up, and I'm gonna do my third and final one in 2027. And for me, I said the first one I put together was cool. I said I want to do another one. I need a year and a half. I gotta write new material, and I want to travel. I want to go different states. I want to go to Cali. I want to go to down south. I want to go to Texas. I'm gonna go to these different places and see if I'm funny in those places as well, because I know I'm
Mm.
funny where I'm at. Now I got to keep challenging myself. So I got to see if I'm funny other places. And then when I come back home and do this next special, they're going to see a better version of me. You know what I'm saying? They're going to see the
Mm.
growth. So never get to a point where it was like, all right, yeah, I'm funny and that's enough. Nah. It's because there's somebody out there that's hungry, that wants to be where you at or wants to be ahead of you. You know what I'm saying? So you got to constantly keep on working.
And again, Elijah the Barber, man, check him out on all social medias. I appreciate you coming on, man, just talking, man. You know what I mean, and not asking for $500 to come on my podcast because these
Mhm.
comedians be asking all kind of crazy money to come. You gonna hit me with
Yeah.
500? God damn, nigga, you
Yeah.
don't you see what my subscribers are at? 300?
Look, I listen, bro. I appreciate you, man. You keep doing what you doing because I know you on the grind, man, with the comedy. Like I said, I done seen you at Cool J's and all that stuff. Keep doing what you doing, man. Keep working on your craft, but don't be afraid to hit up different states, different cities, man. They open mics and get that feedback, man. Like get that feedback from people that don't know you. You see what I'm
Mm,
saying? People that haven't seen you. You know what I'm saying? Like one thing I love about Cool J's is they give you the feedback, and honestly sometimes the feedback you need. Like I know last time I was there, Major was saying like I got a bit about my grandma, I mean about my cousin, and he was saying like, yo, the story is hilarious, it's funny, but you need to put together a different voice for your cousin when you talk as him. And we was in Carolina, and I was telling my man about it, and he was like, yo, that would be dope. So now it's like back to the drawing board. Like I'm gonna work on having a new voice from, but I got time because I'm not filming my special till February. So by the time
mm,
February get here, that joke is gonna be way more perfected, and I'm gonna have the voice. You see what I'm saying? So take the advice that people give you, regardless of what you do, or regardless of what level you at or they at, because you never know what can help you. You see what I'm saying? So comedians that been doing it longer than me, some comedians that been doing it not as long as me, I get inspiration from, and I just put things in the tweaking, my craft, and trying to make myself better, man. Because that at the end of the day, that's what it's about. You want to constantly get better.
yeah, man. And again, man, I appreciate you coming on, man. And make sure you go check out Elijah the Barber, man. Check out his special too, man. Uh,
Yeah.
it's was it under what, Elijah the Barber on YouTube? What is it under on YouTube?
Elijah the Barber cutting up comedy special. And I'm Elijah the Barber comedy. Y'all can Google that or social media, Elijah the Barber 856-609.
All right, and we're out of here. Thank you.
All right, man. Appreciate you, bro.